Hey everybody, it's Deborah. I'm back with another watercolor project for us this week. We're going to be working a little looser this time, doing some quick florals and getting some texture in our flowers. So let me show you what we have here. Just something simple and fun to play with, and it won't take you a long time. So let's get started with that. What I'm going to do with this when I'm completed with it is I'm going to scan it in and I'm going to put it in Photoshop and cut it apart and make a card out of it. So I'll show you that finished product. And so if you know Photoshop, you can go ahead and do that as well. So let's get started. I have it all drawn out on my watercolor paper, and today I'm using, let's see, it's a Fabriano Artistico 140 pound cold press. So I'm going to be using my number 10 round. This is a Royal and Langnickel brush. I like these brushes. They're inexpensive, but they have really nice points on them. And I'm going to start with some of my Cadmium lemon, just dropping that around the outside of my flower here. These are very loose poppies. I'm going to go right ahead and mix some of my yellow right in there. So that's the cadmium-free lemon and the cadmium-free yellow. And I'm also just going to bring a little water in. I'm going to drop some water over here and lift a little. So I don't mind if it's, a little bit lighter here and there on the edges. And I'm going to go back to the yellow and drop a little more of that towards the center of the flower. And I'm bringing it out part way. You can probably see my pencil lines there. So now I want to take some of that combination of the opera and the transparent orange, and I want to just drop some of that right in towards the center. Maybe just a little bit more here and there. Just going over to my second poppy. Again, starting with the cadmium-free lemon. And I'm going to just take again some water. Just pulling that towards the edge and then going into my yellow. And then back to this mixture. And then just using a little water here and there to move some of that around. I don't want to lift too much of it. I want to keep some in the center here. But I want to go back in when this is partially dry and drop some more paint in, and I'm going to get a few blooms that way. I think I want a little bit more of my yellow. And then for this flower, I want to use the peach color, pretty light. So I'm going to add some water to that. I want to bring a little more opera in. And I think I will also bring some yellow into the center. Let's give that a try. I want a little more of the opera, so I'm just going to get some opera and drop that on the outside edge. Just here and there. That might be a bit much. So now I will take some, I think I'll use the lemon. And I'll work those together. Maybe I need a little more color here and there. I love the way that opera is working in this mix. And I'll go over the center when it's dry. So now this is starting to be a little drier, so I'm going to take that combination color and I'm going to just drop a little in. Around the edges. And I'm going to get into this one too before it dries. And maybe even a little yellow. So we are actually trying to get some blooms here. You don't necessarily have to fill the whole thing. You could lift a little. Feeling that I could still use a little more color in here. And we'll go back in and do the centers after this is dry. Still kind of working at it. I might even be dropping a little more paint in here and there, trying to get that effect. Maybe just a little more of the lemon down here. I might try that on this one as well. I love the way this one's come out, and I probably won't do more to that. I might lift a little over here. I think I'll lift a little in this one as well. So let's go ahead. While I'm going to keep my eye on those, but I'm going to work some of these leaves. And I'm going to turn my paper. I'm going to go into my Ultramarine and just start I feel like I want to add a little something into that. So I'm going to use that mixture of the green gold. And it has some sap green in it. And you can just drop a little bit more at the base of the leaves, a little more of the ultramarine. So again, I'm not concerned about getting blooms today. Getting a little more of my ultramarine out here. I like dropping that in at the base of these leaves. So I'm using more of the green mixture. I'm going to drop some of that ultramarine in here. And I'm watching my flowers. I want to take a little more of that warm color that I've mixed up and drop it in here. See what we can get for a little bloom. Adding some of the opera around the center. And I think I might just lift a little on both these edges here. I like the way this yellow has settled out. Maybe I'll add a little bit more of that in. Go back to my leaves. Dropping in the ultramarine. We do have a little butterfly here, so we can make him or her a little bit blue, perhaps. Maybe just a light wash of some blue. So I will get some fresh ultramarine here and quite a bit of water, and continuing with our butterfly, I'm going to drop a little extra color up towards the top of the butterfly's wing, and then just wash that down. And I can even drop a little bit more. And I'll get more watered down paint for the bottom wings here. And I think I'll drop a little bit of my cadmium yellow, sorry, that's the cadmium lemon in here at the bottom. And I'm going to go back to the ultramarine. Just drop a little teeny bit in here. See if I can move that around a little. And then later we can put a little pattern, some dots on there, not a lot. But I think that integrates our little butterfly in with our flowers and leaves a little better. So I'm still watching my flowers. I'm looking at this one. I'm going to turn it, and I think I'm going to move this paint around a little right here. Maybe drop a little more of my yellow in there. Maybe a little lemon. And then a little more of the deeper color at the center. So I'm mixing up a little bit more of that opera and transparent orange. It's just kind of fun to experiment and not worry about having a problem with blooms and really just kind of letting them happen. I might go in and just move these around a little with some water. This is getting a couple blooms. I'm excited. All right, so let's do some more of our leaves. And this looks like it's dry, so I'm going to go ahead and use some of that same green. It's got the green gold in it, and put that in the center here. Just a little indication. That's nice. And that's enough. Still working on our blooms and the poppies. I feel like I want just a little more color over here. And we can finish up our leaves, and when these dry, we can work on the centers of the poppies. So I'm starting to go in on the inside of my flower with some of this cadmium lemon, and I think I might add a little of my artist squash. This is M. Graham and Company, and put that right into my cadmium lemon just to make it a little more opaque, just for this edge, because I want to cover a little of the paint that snuck in there. And I'm going to go ahead and do this one as well. Using a number 4 brush. Now I'm going to just rinse off my brush and take a little of my cadmium free yellow and mix it with some of that lemon and start to bring a little more of that into my center. I'm just going to cover the whole thing for now. And then we can finish up this other spray of leaves here. So again, I have my green gold and my sap. Could also go back in now. I'm going to take some of my transparent orange and mix it with a little of my yellow. I'm going to use the lemon, but you could use either one. And I'm just going to bring a few lines in. Give a little more detail to the center. And I'll do that on this one also. And I'm going to be taking some of my green gold at this point. And I'm going to run a circle inside here with that green gold. And then actually I have a little flower shape, the center. I'm going to define that with this green gold as well. And while that's wet, I'm going to drop just a little bit of my sap green right in the spaces between the center of my flower. I want maybe a little bit more. And I like the way that kind of spread into the orange, so I'm just going to move a little bit more of it. And then right in the very center, I'm going to take a little bit more of the orange. I'm going to mix just a little bit of the green into it to make it a little more of a rusty color. And I'm just going to make a few little lines in the middle. Nice. And we'll go to the other flower here. A little more of my green gold. And again, I'm going to define the center. That one's a little drier, so I'm going to just take a little bit more of that mixture and bring it in there, here and there. And then, of course, I take my sap. Maybe a little bit more. It's just looking at my other one and seeing I could have a little more color in there. And then the mixture of the orange and green for the center. Nice. So I also thought maybe another little butterfly. So I have drawn one in down here. And I think I'm going to keep it the same colorway as the first one. Getting a little more of my ultramarine blue. And then I'm just going to take some water and soften that. Just a little more intensity up here, top of the wing. Then I'm going to go into the bottom wing and just bring that blue right in there. And with some water, move that. And grab a little of my green gold and put that in at the bottom. For the body, I will use a number 1 brush and mix a little bit browner color. So I'm going to take a little more of my pigment and mix a little more of the transparent orange pigment into that. And in fact, I might take a little of my blue. There we go. And that's going to be just for the little body of our butterfly. And I'm going to turn it so, and get a nice point on my brush to get these little antennae. And let's see, I don't know, that one might be a little damp yet. But I think I might just bring a few more veins into my little flower here. I'm getting some of my opera. And I'm going to mix a little of the orange in that. And I'm just going to pull that out from the center. And I'm going to take some water and just soften the edges of those so they're not too hard lined. And in fact, I'm going to drop just a little bit more color in the base here. And I feel these little centers could use just a little dot of color. I'm going to use the same lemon with the white in it. And then I think I'm ready to finish up my little butterfly. And a little eraser crumb on there, but I think that's our finished product. And I will show you what I do with that. I'm going to make a card in Photoshop. So I'll scan it in, and I cut all the pieces apart in Photoshop and reposition them. And I can make whatever color background or bring other motifs in as I go along. But you could just have it like this. Thanks for joining me here today for this loose and fun project, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and I hope to see you here again. And be sure to watch some of my other videos that are public on YouTube. And here's a couple right here.